Now I would like to introduce a woman with many titles. She was former Missouri Republican Party chair, former RNC co-chair, U.S. ambassador, and now the fabulous Congresswoman representing the 2nd Congressional District from the great state of Missouri. But her most important title is a wife of Ray and a mother of 3 beautiful yet rambunctious children. Please help welcome Congresswoman Ann Wagner to the podium.
I have to tell you, I feel a little inadequate. 2 mothers of 5 here. I just have 3, but thank you, Mercy, very, very much. It's wonderful to be with this distinguished group of panelists, and thanks to all of you for having me here today to speak about an issue that I am extremely passionate about, the sanctity of life. 40 years ago, the Supreme Court of the United States lit a spark when they announced the decision of Roe v. Wade, and that spark grew into a flame, and the fire spread. That decision outraged and united many of us, and we have fought for 40 years to keep the issue at center stage. And though we still have not seen the Supreme Court overturn the decision of Roe v. Wade, we have made a lot of progress. Subsequent court cases narrowed the scope of permissible abortion-related activities that are related in particular to federal funding. Additionally, Congress has taken and continues to take measures each year to ensure that taxpayer dollars do not go to provide abortions. We are also committed to making sure that taxpayer dollars do not go to organizations that provide abortions. And in 2003, Congress and President George W. Bush put an end to the horrific practice of partial birth abortion in this country. But despite the progress we've made in changing hearts and minds through our continued vigilance, despite the science and technology that have surfaced showing a baby's heartbeat and hiccup in the womb are proving it that, in fact, an unborn child can feel pain, this president remains completely out of touch and defies the majority of the American people. Barack Obama does not even support the ban on partial birth abortion. And since coming to life and to office, this president has waged an all-out war on our pro-life community. This administration has denied grants to pro-life organizations that help trafficking victims for the sole purpose that they will not recommend or counsel a victim to get abortion. Furthermore, he has trounced on our constitutional liberties that guarantee our religious freedom to defining preventative health care for women in the Obamacare to include the abortion pill. And then he has the audacity to say that we are waging a war on women in this country. He is the one who is waging a war on women because this president, yes, a real war on women, this president and his administration and organizations that perform or support abortions are not being truthful with women about what will happen in the aftermath of an abortion. I recently had the opportunity to speak with Joyce Zunis, who had multiple abortions between the ages of 15 and 26. She told me that the abortionist told her everything would be over very quickly. What they didn't tell her about was the physical and psychological impacts that would stay with her for a lifetime. Not once did the abortionist relay to her the physical risks that she suffered later, the increased risks of breast cancer, having to be bedridden for 5 months during her pregnancy, and a partial hysterectomy at the delivery of her child. That does not include the emotional damage she has suffered, uncontrollable anger and depression, seclusion, and the inability to trust anyone. You see, everyone talks about the right to choose, but no one talks about the implications or the scars of that choice. As a mother As a leader and as a legislator, I am honored to lend my voice to such an important cause in Congress. I have become an active participant in the Congressional Pro-Life Caucus. I've co-sponsored legislation that would make sure that taxpayer dollars do not go to abortions or organizations that perform abortions. I've also signed on to legislation that provides a conscience protection clause to protect religious and value-based organizations from going against their beliefs or going out of business. My first floor speech, I will tell you, as a freshman member of Congress, this January was speaking out on behalf of, as we've talked about, those 55 million nameless angels who have fallen victim to the abortion in this country over the past 40 years. And in that speech, I told the story of participating in the annual March for Life 23 years ago. I know that it was 23 years ago because I was 6 weeks pregnant with my second son, Stephen. I loaded a bus at the foot of the St. Louis Gateway Arch, and I embarked on a 16-hour journey to Washington. And I'll tell you what, I wouldn't suggest it to anybody who's 6 weeks pregnant with the morning sickness that ensued. But I have to tell you, it was important to me while carrying my unborn child to be in Washington, D.C. I knew that at that moment it was not enough to simply say that I was pro-life. I literally had to walk the walk. And today, I encourage all of you to stay involved in the pro-life movement and keep this issue at the forefront. It is especially important that the young people in our audience stay involved. Youth gives credence and it gives hope to this movement. And with your help, I will fight for the day when abortion is not only illegal, but abortion is unthinkable. I thank you.